Hey gang, back with another video for you today. Today I'm talking about a fragrance from a house that I've never spoken about on this channel. In fact, the last time I wore a fragrance from this house was back in the late 90s up until the very early 2000s. So I'm speaking about the house Moschino, an Italian house. And this is a fragrance for men called Toy Boy. This one right here. Really unique and quirky bottle. And I was very excited about this one when I found out all about it, but I was also very cautious thinking, God, this is going to be a great fragrance. But I have a bottle because I was in Florence and I saw it there and I was very excited and curious and I really liked what I smelled. So if you want to find out about Toy Boy from Moschino, then please stay tuned. Thanks so much for tuning in. This is Sebastian with Smelling Great Fragrance Reviews. If this is your first time tuning into my channel and you love watching fragrance reviews, finding out about new fragrances, discovering new brands, and of course participating in giveaways and still haven't subscribed to the channel, please click that subscribe button below and also click the bell so you'll be notified for future videos and giveaways. So yeah, I've been a fan of Moschino since the 90s. They had some very quirky ads in the 90s for fragrances, and I loved wearing their fragrance Uomo with a question mark, which was launched in 1998. I got myself a bottle of it in 1999 and I wore it for a couple of years up until about 2001. Then I kind of just forgot about the brand and moved on. But they've been launching some quirky fragrances and they do have a very quirky out there kind of a creative director for the house. And so of course they have quirky bottle designs for their fragrances, as you can see. This is Moschino's Toy Boy, which is a 2019 launch, and it's considered a woody, floral, or fruity fragrance. It's created by a perfumer by the name of Yann Vasnier, and I haven't seen prices in the USA, and I'm here in France, but I did buy my bottle in Florence at a department store there, and I paid about 80 euros for a 100 ml bottle. And so I'm assuming it's going to retail, if it comes to the States, for about 95, somewhere around there, dollars for 100 ml. So what do we have for notes here? We've got at the top a bergamot, pink pepper, pear, Elemi resin, nutmeg. In the heart you've got cloves, rose, magnolia, and flax. In the base you've got vetiver, sandalwood, cashmere wood, amber, and silkalide. So this is the top 5 reasons why you should buy a bottle of Toy Boy. First reason is because it is a quirky fragrance. Very quirky and out there kind of a bottle design. Sometimes you might think this might actually be really weird to own because it does have this bear and it says Moschino on it. It's Toy Boy. Immediately I was thinking of Madonna's boy toy era, but it's nothing to do with that. It's just the reverse with the name. So I like that about this brand. It's always been quirky to me. Like one of the ads I remember in the 90s, totally remember this ad of a bottle of one of their fragrances with a straw coming out and a woman drinking it. So always thought the brand was very quirky, and some time ago they launched the fragrance for women that was like a Windex spray bottle. So they do some really strange things, and here we have this like teddy bear on a bottle with a very fruity smell. So that's one of the reasons why you should buy a bottle of Toy Boy from Moschino, because it is quirky. So my number 5th reason why you should buy it is because it's quirky. So number 4 reason why you should buy a bottle of Toy Boy is because Yann Vasnier. So Yann Vasnier is a perfumer that I've followed for a while. I don't own a lot of fragrances from this perfumer, and he's more of a younger perfumer rather than an established older perfumer, but he does have a big catalog of fragrances for various different houses, and one of the houses is Arquiste, and Arquiste is a New York City brand, a niche brand from New York City, and he's done several fragrances for that house. He's done several fragrances for Jo Malone, and that is a pretty established brand, of course, owned by Estee Lauder. Keiko Macheri is a brand, another niche house from LA area, which I've never spoken about on this channel, but that's another house that he's done fragrances for. And of course Marc Jacobs is another brand that Yann Vasnier has done fragrances for, a lot of different fragrances. If you just look up his name in the databases like Fragrantica or Perfumo, you can see that he's done fragrances for these houses. And of course, Tom Ford, he's done some fragrances for Tom Ford as well. So this is a pretty big release. I'm just not sure if this release is going to be big in the States. I don't even know if it's going to come here, because there was a previous version. It was called Toy 2, because that came out last year. It was a unisex scent, I was told, in the department store I bought this from. But the woman said this one is for men, and it's very strong and potent. And I did notice that comparing the two fragrances, Toy 2 versus Toy Boy, that was a very light and cleaner fragrance. This one really was big and beastly. But he's done this, and I'm not sure if it's going to come to the States, as I said, but this is a pretty big fragrance, and with this kind of a design on the bottle, it's very, very unique. And another reason why I selected number 4 as the reason to buy Moschino's Toy Boy because of Yann Vasnier is because he's an up-and-coming perfumer, and this is a pretty big release for this brand. So that's one of the reasons why you should buy it. So number 4 reason is Yann Vasnier. Check it out, and check out some of his other fragrances. Number 3 reason why you should buy Toy Boy is because it's fruity. So this is a fruity fragrance immediately from the start to beginning. It's an ultra fruity fragrance, but it does dry down to a woody base. It's a very, very woody experience in the base, but it starts off ultra fruity. And another reason at number 3 is it's fruity / pear. This one utilizes a pear note, and that pear note is pretty strong. It's a very, very strong note. And recently I did another video with a pear note in the fragrance, and I'm really into the idea of pear fragrances. And here, the reason I chose this as the 3rd reason, the number 3, top 5 reasons, because it's that fruity pear in here. It's ultra strong, and you can totally smell the pear in this fragrance. It's a big, juicy, drippy pear with lots of spicy notes and woody notes and floral notes added in. So if you like the idea of fruity fragrances and something unique, because there's a lot of men's fragrances out there, a lot, and I was really, really cautiously getting close to this fragrance to smell it, because I was scared it was going to be like the other fragrances that I'm disappointed with, like the latest Carolina Herrera, latest Issey Miyake, and then also the latest Jean-Paul Gaultier. I was thinking this might go in that direction, kind of scared about it, but I was so excited when I smelled it because it was so unique compared to everything else for men out there. It was just a very, very unique fragrance. And I like the fact that this one is really, really fruity with the pear. It's ultra fruity, ultra pear. So if you like that idea, pears versus apples, no apples here, all pears, then another reason why you should buy Moschino's Toy Boy, and because of the pear note and the fruity pear note. So that's another reason. And number 2 reason why you should buy Toy Boy, it's strong. This is a big, juicy, strong blast. Lots of fruitiness, big and beastly. Now, the fragrance actually, when I was in Italy, when I first bought it, it was really hot there. Currently, I'm in Spain. Currently, I'm in France, not Spain. But when I was in Italy, it was really hot and humid, and this fragrance actually really came alive in that heat. It was really strong, really intense, and the fragrance lasted forever on me. Ultra strong. But you gotta love the fruity pear note in this because it's ultra fruity with the pear. So lots of strong pear. But the fragrance actually has a lot more going for it, because at the top you get a lot of pink pepper. It is peppery and a little bit juicy with the bergamot. And then the pink pepper also gives it there's a slight incensey accord running through it. And of course, maybe it's coming from the Elemi resin in here with a nutmeg, and pink pepper kind of creates like an incensey accord. So that is what happens at the top. But the pear note is pretty dominant, very, very dominant. In the heart, you get rose. There's a lot of rose in here, but it's not like a true rose. It's rose mixed with everything else, where you're not really smelling like an ultra true rose, but it's there, it's strong. There's also this clove note and magnolia thrown in, and a magnolia note and a pear note really, really complement one another. It kind of boosts up the pear note for me, so that I'm getting a lot of pear in the heart as well. And as I was mentioning, this dries down to a woody base with that vetiver, the sandalwood, And then of course there's cashmere wood, which gives it a little bit of a muskiness and amber, and then the silk-alide. So one of the reasons why you should do this one is because it's strong. It's a really long-lasting fragrance for a designer, and it's kind of weird for me to think about that, especially with this kind of a bottle design. Look at that. I mean, it doesn't look like it's going to be anything strong, but you get that with this fragrance. And then finally, number one, the number one reason why you should buy Toy Boy is because it's very unique for a smell. Now, when I say unique, I'm only referring to designer fragrances because this is not something that I've smelled from designers, but it does remind me of one fragrance from Byredo called Untitled or Unnamed. A little bit, not a lot, but it does hint at some of those fragrances. To me, it hints at the DNA of Byredo for some odd reason, but it doesn't come close too much. It just kind of reminds me of some of the fragrances in the Byredo catalog. But it is an ultra unique fragrance, and I'm happy that it doesn't smell like those fragrances that disappointed me from the other designers that I've mentioned, because it's very unique. It's a unique scent, even though it's called Toy Boy and it's targeted to men. I think this is also one that women can wear because of that fruitiness, the woody fruity parts and the floral parts of this fragrance. So it's one that both men and women can pull off, and a unique scent. I mean, I'm surprised how great this is. I mean, it doesn't remind me of anything of Uomo when I wore that in 1998 because that one was more of a powerhouse kind of a fragrance of the 90s. Really intense, strong fragrance. But this is very, very playful for me. It's quirky, like I said. Number 5 reason was quirky, and it's like that. I mean, it totally does make sense to add this pear, fruity, woody fragrance in a bottle that looks like this. So this is Moschino's Toy Boy. Check it out for a very unique fragrance. It's quirky, it's weird, it's fun, it's playful, and a great wearing experience. As I said, it comes alive in the heat. So if you are some places that are hot or humid, I think this is going to work great. But it is a strong experience, so do control your sprays in the heat. But it does tend to last a long time. It definitely did for me in the heat. And anyway, guys, this is Toy Boy from Moschino. Have you smelled it yet? Are you familiar with this design house from Italy? Do you know any of their fragrances? Let me know. Put some comments down below, and let me know if you're curious to try this and what do you think of this bottle. Is it too weird for you? Is it too quirky, too out there? Let me know. Please put some comments down. Let's get a conversation started. Other than that, please like this video. Please share it. Follow me on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram, and I'll be back with more videos very soon. Have a good one. Goodbye.